ladies and gentlemen, to the 15th episode of Post TAP. My name is JoshAgeddon, your host, as always. I would say head commentator, but I guess head podcaster here on. You know who I am. You know what the drill is at this point. Multiple podcasts over the span of a couple of days, because recently I did a podcast, a TAP podcast, over on my YouTube channel, and I put it on Rumble. Comparing the Jesus of Nazareth miniseries to the Passion of the Christ. If you have not listened to it, I highly recommend you go listen to it. Give me some views. Thank you very much. Don't just do it for me. Do it for Jesus as well. But on this episode of Post TAP, yes. For those, I feel like I have to say this every single time that I do a Post TAP and a TAP next to each other. Two separate podcasts. Everyone has a podcast because everyone is so narcissistic. Oh yeah, well I have two podcasts, mother trucker. What are you going to do about it? That's right, nothing. Except maybe listen to both of them and subscribe. Thanks. This episode is going to go on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify because I feel like it, and that's just how it's going to be. Three main topics that I want to discuss on this episode. First, we're going to kick things off with a brand new segment. Because some things have been happening at the place of my work. For those of you that don't know, I'm a Pizza Hut delivery driver. I have some interesting stories. Two, I'm going to be talking about the WWE releases. They had Black Friday this past Friday, and I have some thoughts and opinions that I must espouse and splooge out to all who can hear my voice. And WWE Backlash is this Saturday, and I'm going to go through the card and give my predictions. So, I don't think this will be an overly long episode of Post TAP, but we shall see where things go as I ramble on, as I am wont to do. But before I get into the topics, there are a few small things that I want to address, some house cleaning stuff. Number one, I have a video talking about all the chaos and insanity going on FF that hopefully will go up tomorrow. I haven't even recorded it yet, and I'm not looking forward to recording it because I'm recording this on a Monday at about 4:45 p.m. I wanted to record this podcast at noon, but you see I had a migraine, and then I had to go deposit my money to my bank account and then pay for my own car insurance. Thanks, Dad! I'm just kidding, I love you, Dad. So I've been busy today. Yes, I had a migraine, then I had some food and caffeine, and now and some drugs, and now my migraine is, woo, bye-bye, see you next time. And I'm just like, don't come back, and migraine's like, you know I will. And I'm like, I hate you, middle finger, you can't see this because it's a podcast. Anyway, but anyway, back to the point. Tomorrow, hopefully, will be an update about the situation going on in FF with all the warring factions. I've spoken to the FF General Manager, Mon Mothma, and we have a plan to tackle it. And it does involve Scorn too, but I'm not going to divulge everything here on this episode. You'll just have to wait and see it for tomorrow. It's a nice little hook for TAW programming coming up tomorrow, so be looking forward to that. Also, just a real quick aside, not really a programming update or anything like that. I just want to point out that yesterday was May the 4th, Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. Although, I won't lie, I'm more partial to Revenge of the 6th, which is tomorrow. Some interesting news. Revenge of the Sith for the 20-year... It blows my mind, by the way, that Revenge of the Sith is 20 years old. Absolute insanity. My all-time favorite Star Wars movie. I can literally quote the entire movie. I've seen it that many times. It's such a tremendous movie. And it amuses me to no end that it is absolutely crushing the box office right now, making so much money at the pure bewilderment and confusion of Disney themselves. Because over the past several years, everything Disney has done or touched has turned into absolute dumpster fire garbage. So, will they learn anything from this? Of course not. Who do you think we're talking about? But good for Revenge of the Sith. Good for George Lucas getting one final hurrah over his words, not mine, slave owners over it. Never forget the slave owners over at Disney. Yeah, I'm sure I'm sure George Lucas is crying in his bed that is just made of money, wiping his tears with $85 bajillion bills, because those exist. That is real currency. I have said it, and it is a thing, and it probably has Donald Trump's face on it somewhere. But anyway, so I love Revenge of the Sith, and I guess this is a programming update. I have recorded footage of me playing the Revenge of the Sith video game because it was on Xbox Marketplace for like $9, and I have it on my Xbox Series X. I recorded a video of me playing it, and it's very stupid and unhinged, so be looking forward to that. Although I don't know when I'm going to release it because Revenge of the Sith did not come out until May the 19th back in 2005. So, I'm not saying I'm going to release that video on May 19th, but up until then, at some point during the month of May, I will release this video. And you will question why you have ever bothered subscribing or giving me the time of day, because the content that I put out on a regular basis is interesting. I refer to them as videos that happened. So anyway, be looking forward to that. I guess that was a programming note. So, anyway, back to the big three topics that I want to discuss. So our first topic is a new segment that I have dubbed, henceforth, Pizza Hut Insanity. And yes, I do have a soundbite intro for it. So roll that intro for Pizza Hut Insanity.
Pizza Hut Insanity!
That was crunchy. I did not expect it to be that, because I have this hooked up to my speaker so you can hear it better. I was not expecting that amount of crunch on that explosion. Wow, my ears are bleeding. Comedy. So yeah, on this edition of Pizza Hut Insanity, because once again, I'm a Pizza Hut delivery driver, shout out to all of my coworkers and friends over at the Pizza Hut on Airport Road. In case any of you ever listen to this, I'm sorry. I cannot apologize to those poor people enough. So, I can't remember what day it was, but it was a couple weeks ago. I literally just arrived. It was my first delivery of the day. It was a Friday, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember the address that I went to, but it was kind of a gated neighborhood, sort of. It was a more higher class, upper class neighborhood. It was a pretty neighborhood. So I go there with our order. Again, it's my first delivery of the day. And I'm driving up, and all of a sudden, there are police officers and a freaking SWAT team just everywhere, and like 7 houses are just completely blocked off. So I'm like, uh-oh, I'm gonna go the opposite direction, because it's like a more circular road with a bunch of houses on either side. So I was like, okay, maybe I can get to the house if I go to the other side. So I drive around, and I'm passing some very curious bystanders and observers who are like looking, and you know how people just look and point at people who are getting arrested or holding up their phones? I didn't see anyone holding up their phones. So that I might have accidentally stumbled upon a town of aliens who do not know what cellular devices are. So I passed by them, and yeah, I was like, yeah, the house is still blocked off. Crap, I don't know what to do. So I called the store, because whenever there's some kind of issue with a delivery, like, let's say you're delivering a pizza and you get a flat tire, or let's say you get mugged and someone steals the pizza, which has happened to me before. Someone did steal a pizza. Well, this dude tried to steal a pizza from me once, but when he tried to yank it from me, I held onto it, and the pizza just went everywhere and fell on the ground, and he ran away with an empty cardboard box. He was I don't know if I mentioned this, but in a previous podcast, but it was the dude that was bald and was wearing strawberry polka-dotted boxers. Wasn't wearing pants. So that was weird. And, there's a spider on my wall. Excuse me. Get out of my house! Ow! I think I got him. Alright. And we're back! So I apologize for that brief interruption. So anyway. God, this podcast is a disaster. Yeah, whenever there's some kind of issue about stuff like that, the first thing you should do is call the store and let the manager or whoever's answering the phone know that there's a problem, and then notify the customer that there's some kind of issue. I've had to notify customers before, like, hey, the road to your house is being blocked off by a fire truck. It might take me a minute. And then they, of course, always respond with the,
well, if you're late on the delivery, does that mean I get the pizza for free?
aren't I funny? Yes, you're hilarious. You're not the... It's not like I haven't heard a customer make that exact same joke 85,000 times this month. You're so funny. Ha ha ha! Where's my Gary soundbite for that amazing joke? That amazing joke. There it is. Thank you, Gary. I don't know why I'm getting so upset over this all of a sudden. So anyway, back to the story at hand. I call the store and let them know what's going on. They're like, all right, well, see if you can get a hold of the customer. If you can't, then just bring it back to the store. Because we can do that, especially... This was a cash order, so it's not your pizza until you pay for it and I give it to you. So until that happens, it is not your pizza. It is Pizza Hut's pizza. It's a very redundant way to go about saying that. I know, Sean. Yes, I have a master's degree from the Department of Redundancy Department. Leave me alone. So I try to call the customer and they won't pick up. Try to call them again, they won't pick up. And some pedestrians notice this and they come up to me and they are asking me like, what are you here for? And I was like, do you know like which house this is, or like who, like because you have the name of the customer on the receipt. I was like, do you know so and so? And they were like, no. And then a couple minutes later, they came back over to my car and they were like, dude, your customer is the one getting arrested. And I died laughing. I was in my car, doubled over wheezing at the notion that my customer that I was there to see, to give them a pizza, was the one getting arrested. There was a SWAT team. What did you do? And I'm pretty sure it was a woman. Ma'am, what did you do? Also, I love the idea of, I'm going to commit a crime and then order a pizza. It's going to be my last meal as a free person. Yeah, that's never happened to me before. I've never tried to deliver a pizza to a customer that was currently getting arrested. That is a first for me. That is a first. That was really, really funny. I swear to God this happened. It made me laugh so hard. And I haven't even got to the best part. The best part is not only did me and my coworkers end up eating their pizza, because again, that's something you're allowed to do. If a delivery doesn't go through, or like there's some kind of issue and they don't end up getting the pizza, then you get the pizza back and you can either eat it or throw it away. So we ate it and it was delicious. Thank you for getting arrested. Also, my very next delivery had a $10 tip on it. And after I got that $10 tip, I was like, I love my job. I have a tip, dinner, and entertainment. That was a great shift. That was a great shift. Oh, man. Seriously, though. Commit a crime, order a pizza. And then get arrested before you can even eat it. Like, what the hell? What did you do, woman? And that's not the only funny story. I hope the store manager is okay with me sharing this, but not too long after that, like a couple weeks after that, I think it was actually like last week and a half ago, we have a bunch of different pizza cutters of different sizes and shapes. We just got a new one because our old one was very dull and not very sharp. We got a brand new one, and as my store manager was cleaning it, she accidentally cleaved into her own hand and had to go to the emergency room to get stitches. That was about 30 minutes after I got to work that day. Like, I signed in, did one delivery, I get back, there's blood, and my store manager is nearly in tears holding her hand, and there's a massive gash. And I'm just like, Maureen, I've been here for 30 minutes. What did you do? But she was back in a couple hours with a bandage on her hand. So, love you, Maureen. I hope she doesn't mind me sharing that, because it's so funny. Working at Pizza Hut can sometimes be fun. I sometimes have so much fun at Pizza Hut. Shout out to all my coworkers and friends there. Especially my boy John, who, at some point we're going to record some more Sonic 06 Redux. We were going to do that some today, but John was unavailable because he's babysitting, I believe. So, shout out to my boy John. So yeah, and that concludes this installment, our first inaugural installment of Pizza Hut Insanity. But now, I will say that here's a transition. I hope me talking about that doesn't get me fired, much like these people who got fired. WWE, that is a transition and a half right there. Eat your heart out, Sean. You're not the only one that can come up with transitions on the fly just like that. Love you, Sean. So, yes, this past Friday, right before SmackDown, the perfect time to let people go is right before a TV show where a bunch of sensitive assholes who are completely devoid of being able to interact with other people normally as human beings. It's a very good idea to fire people right before your show where you have a bunch of unhinged, highly emotional fans. So yeah, WWE released about 15 to 17 people right before SmackDown started this past Friday. Everyone's calling it Black Friday. And before I get, because I do want to give my thoughts and opinions on each person that was released, and I have 2 sound bites for this. One is the intro to this segment that I am directly, shamelessly stealing from the Court Martial podcast. Shout out once again to my friend Sean and Skylar. Here is the intro for this segment that you may all know very well.
So you've been released by the WWE. Best of luck in your future endeavors. You've been released by the WWE. And now you gotta go wrestle for Impact. You've been released by the WWE. Best of luck in your future endeavors. You've been released by the WWE. Damn, and now what? Ow. You gotta wrestle for Impact. Impact. Then you know that pay gon' be so low.
All right. Me stealing that from Sean and Skylar isn't even the funniest part about that. The funniest part is the end of that where it says you gotta go wrestle for Impact. TNA is partnered with WWE right now, so some of these people might go to TNA, and there are rumors that WWE is going to straight up buy TNA just to hire some of those people and probably release them again. I'm sorry, that is funny. That is so TNA LOL. So, and again, thank you to the Court Martial podcast for your completely non-consensual allowance of me using your Best of Luck and Your Future Endeavors theme song that I so shamelessly stole from you. A check will be in the mail. Will not be money, it will be IOUs, circa Dumb and Dumber, because I know how much Sean loves Jim Carrey. So I'll pay you back, not in currency, but in Jim Carrey references, and I feel like that'll work. I have a very strong suspicion that might just work. If it doesn't, I'm screwed. But we'll talk. He'll send someone to my house to break both of my legs. But you know what? You break my legs, I'll do another podcast, and I'll do it again. And what if I run out of legs, huh? What are you gonna do if I run out of legs, huh? Probably use my arms. But still, don't make me send you more Jim Carrey references. I'll send you more than you can handle, Buster Brown. Anyway. So yeah, WWE release is actually getting on topic here. So, we're going to go through each release, and I'm going to give my detailed expert analysis on these releases. And I did mention earlier that I have 2 sound bites. I just played the one that totally belongs to the Court Martial podcast that I totally borrowed with permission. And I have another one because some of these people made me respond out loud with an owl going, who? Because I've never heard of some of these people, not even once in my entire life. So, we're going to start off with perhaps quite literally, like physically, the biggest release from WWE, which is kind of surprising, but if you've looked at his body of work over the past several years, it's not all that surprising. Braun Strowman has been released from WWE. For the second time. Second or third. How many times has this dude been released by WWE at this point? Some of these are repeat offenders, and I'm at the point with some of these where I'm like, okay, this is not the first time you've been fired. stay gone. Find something else to keep you occupied with, because you getting fired and rehired and refired is starting to get annoying, and that's how I feel about Braun Strowman at this point. But also, I won't lie, I have a little bit of a somewhat notorious history as far as my personal opinion on Braun Strowman is concerned. If that sound you heard is Sean going, oh, here we go again. I've never liked Braun Strowman. It always mystified me back in like late 2016 and early 2017 when he, for literally no reason whatsoever, got stupid over. And it's still just, it continues to confuse me to this very day. I remember I did a podcast review of, I believe it was Battleground 2017, the one that had the Jinder Mahal, Randy Orton WWE title match, Punjabi Prison, that wonderful, lovely match that we would all cherish for the rest of our lives and totally not want to purge from our memories. I reviewed that show with Tommy Robinson, and I said something about Braun Strowman sucking, and then he said, no, Braun Strowman's awesome. And I was like, get the hell out of my house and my country, British man. But little did I know that was a precursor and I guess a warning to the overwhelming amount of overness that Braun Strowman literally stumbled into for no reason whatsoever. So I've had a little bit of a personal vendetta against Braun Strowman for basically his entire tenure in WWE. I never understood why he got so over, and that just made me despise him. But I will say, when he got released the first time during the pandemic and proceeded to bury the independent scene, which pissed off basically everyone, and I'm like, wow. So is it okay for me to say I don't like Braun Strowman now since everyone suddenly is mad at him? Can I be honest with you all now? Are thine eyes prepared to receive the truth? Not my truth, not your truth, the truth. Because here's something you can take out of this podcast. A life lesson, as if you will. There is no such thing as your truth or someone else's truth or their truth. There is the truth. There's only one truth. Everything else is opinion. So whenever I see someone talking about my truth or, yes, you tell your truth, I want to shoot somebody in the face. Like, seriously, it drives me insane. There is no your truth. There is no my truth. There is the truth and your opinion. Everyone else, for my sanity, at the bare minimum, stop talking like that. I hate people trying to claim ownership over the truth. You do not own the truth. The truth exists whether you like it or not. The truth is a lot like the way... This is going to be a weird analogy. I was watching a bunch of Star Wars videos the other day, and I believe it might have been Qui-Gon or someone else that said... it was Darth Revan. It was Darth Revan. Don't ask what videos I was watching. I was watching this channel called Skywalker Stories where they do AI people talking, and it's basically quotes from Star Wars books and stuff like that, making scenes and stuff. Go watch it and you'll get what I'm talking about. But basically he said, the Force does not care. It does not choose a side. It simply is. That's the truth. The truth does not care. The truth does not care about favoritism. The truth does not pick sides. The truth exists whether you like it or not. I don't know why I went on this tangent, but here we are, coming out of that tangent, going back to Brown Snowman, Brawny the paper towel snowman, Menson, Adam sharing the toilet paper. I'm talking about is caring. I don't know what happened to my brain just now, but I short-circuited and you all just heard it. So yeah, when he first got released, he pissed off everyone about the independent thing. And when he came back, though, I think he came back in 2023, maybe early 2024. Whenever he came back, he actually looked like he had improved a bit. He was a little bigger, not bigger as in fatter, but more muscular. and he started using the most I've ever liked Braun Strowman is when his finishing move was the Monster Bomb, which was just a massive power bomb. I loved that. I hate his shitty little power slam. It's always been a terrible finishing move. I like the power. He's tall. If he picks you up and power bombs you, you're gonna fall from a great height and take a huge flat back bump like this. I literally just took a bump in my bedroom. But again, he had improved somewhat, but he never really got back to the same level as he was in late 2016 and basically all of 2017. Mostly because he kept losing to Brock Lesnar, which made me laugh. And they just never really took him seriously. And he gets fired again this past Friday. But in all honesty, okay, this is going to sound mean. I'm not over here laughing and celebrating because people got fired. Yet. But this, okay, I wish I could go back and comfort 2017, 2018 Joshua and let him know, dude, just you wait. Because the funniest part is the Pat McAfee show happened and they had this WrestleMania roast thing that I didn't watch. But I know that Paul Heyman was on it and Braun Strowman was in the audience and Braun Strowman asked why he wasn't on the WrestleMania card. Paul Heyman turned to him and said, quite simply, because you suck. So, Paul Heyman, who is a very well-respected person in WWE, tells one of their wrestlers, you weren't on Mania because you suck. A week later, that dude gets fired. Absolute comedy. Especially since it was Braun Strowman. Oh, this dude. I wish I could go back and tell 2017, 2018 me, don't worry about all the Braun hype. It's going to die down, and his career is literally going to end with Paul Heyman telling him to his face, you suck as a wrestler, and then he's going to get fired. Like a week later. Don't worry. Don't worry, dude. Trust me. Your moment of absolute catharsis will come. Don't you worry. So yes, Paul Heyman telling him that, and then him immediately getting fired. It was like a double whammy of catharsis. I don't know if I don't know if my third eye has opened yet because of all of this immense catharsis that I have been experiencing. So I don't hate Braun Strowman as much as I used to. I really just don't really have an opinion on him either way. But WWE is bringing in a lot of bigger dudes. Like they have Jacob Fatu. When Bronson Reed will finish his convalescing, he'll be back. They're bringing in Jeff Cobb, allegedly. There's not really a need for Braun Strowman. They can do what he can do 150 bajillion times better. And he put Jacob Fatu over on his way out, so bye Braun. Bye Braun. Don't come back, because you getting fired and rehired and refired and rehired again is just annoying at this point. Just WWE with Braun Strowman, let this be final. If you rehire him again, let that be final. This will he, won't he? Will he, won't he? Shit. Stop that. Get some help. So that was Braun Strowman. Another wrestler, perhaps the second biggest name. This one upset everyone for reasons that confound and escape me. Dakota Kai was released. Now, let me just address this real quick, because she is like the biggest example of people on X or Twitter absolutely losing their minds over these releases, because there were so many people who were essentially saying, how dare a company fire someone? That it got so nauseatingly annoying on X, to the point where I was begging WWE to fire even more people just to irritate the IWC. Just the whiniest bitches on planet Earth. I get it, it's probably not the best idea to do that right before your show starts. You probably could time that better. But still, the amount of wailing and moaning and gnashing of teeth and rending of garments. Holy crap, it was insufferable on X. Wrestling fans are the dumbest people on Earth. They are the creepiest people on Earth. And I hate them. Wrestling fans, you are embarrassing. Like, look with Dakota Kai, Shayna Baszler, Eddie Thorpe, Riley Osborne, Jakara Jackson, Oro Mensah, Javier Bernal, Gallus. You did not give a single shit about any of these people until Friday. When, them getting fired triggered your memory of them even existing in the first place, and now you're upset about it? Spare me. Spare me the bullshit performative outrage. Stop. None of these people give a single solitary shit about you. In fact, most of the people released probably think all of you are weird and creepy and would not want them around them or their spouses or their children or their family or whatever. So shut up! Like, to all the angry Dakota Kai fans who adorned all of their profiles and banner arts with non-stop Dakota Kai pictures. Shut up! Your opinion largely is insignificant. If your opinion mattered, if your fandom for Dakota Kai of all people, why are you such a big fan of her in the first place? I don't care that she streams on Twitch. I don't care. But if your opinion mattered, she'd still have a job. So sit down and shut up. So there's my rant on stupid WWE fans and the retards in the IWC. As for Dakota Kai herself, she was fine. But the problem, the reason why she was released is very simply, she's too injury prone. Like most of last year, or a lot of 2023, all I remember from her is her walking around on crutches. What are my memories of Dakota Kai? Her doing that weird finger point thing with the call me. I don't know if that's a New Zealand thing. And her walking around on crutches. Those are the only two things I can think of Dakota Kai doing in WWE. But she wasn't bad. She wasn't offensively terrible. We'll get to some of those later on in this list, but she was fine. I just don't understand the just batshit crazy outrage over her getting fired again. But like, again, I don't hate her. She'll be fine if she wants to continue wrestling. And same thing with everyone else on here. If they want to continue wrestling, then they can go to the indies. They might go to TNA. They might go to AEW and end their careers there by absolutely destroying any ounce of common sense they had to begin with by going to AEW, because AEW is the place you go to forget how to wrestle correctly and get your head shoved up so far your own ass that you can't even, that you can tell what you had for breakfast yesterday. So yeah, best of luck, Dakota Kai. And you heard the Sean Court Martial podcast song a minute ago, so I just don't get the outrage over Dakota Kai. If she didn't get injured constantly, she'd still have a job. And even then, she was starting to somewhat get over. Like when she was in the Women's Intercontinental Championship tournament earlier this year, I kind of wanted her to win a little bit, but then they went with Lyra, which I'm cool with because Lyra is great. But Dakota did have a little bit of a following that was noticeable on TV, but a lot of the time when Dakota Kai came out, she was met with, I wouldn't say apathy, just, oh, there's Dakota, hi Dakota, and that's it. People were not going crazy for Dakota Kai. I don't care what anyone says. So, if you're a big fan of Dakota Kai, great. If you love her, great. But don't just bitch about her getting fired on social media. Whatever she decides to do next, support her there, or just spare me the wailing and crying and being annoying as all hell on X. Another person that got fired was, this one actually kind of made me sad a little. Shayna Baszler. Not because she was not because, oh, they could have done so much with her. The ship has long sailed on Shayna Baszler, and that's the sad part. I remember her NXT run where she was basically female Brock Lesnar. She was scary in NXT. She was great in NXT. And for like the first month or so on the main roster, she was great. I remember when she literally eliminated everyone in the Women's Elimination Chamber match. And then they had her go full-on vampire mode on Becky Lynch. That was red flag number 1. And then at the Pandemic Mania 36, Becky Lynch rolled her up in a couple minutes and pinned her, whilst being pregnant. And ever since then, Shayna has not been the same. Vince McMahon destroyed Shayna Baszler with atrocious booking. And Triple H tried, but he could not salvage that. Like he really couldn't. Like he tried, but it just nothing was working. She was damaged goods. And then she was just in random tag teams with Nia Jax, which was horrible. Ronda Rousey, which was somehow even worse, which culminated in a match that I still have not seen to this day. I don't care how much Sean loves it. The SummerSlam quote-unquote MMA match, if that's what you want to call it, between Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey, that Shayna won because Ronda wanted to put her over. A lot of good that did her. And then, oh my god, her, Zoe Stark, and Sonya Deville created one of the worst factions of all time, the Pure Fusion Collective. This is what I think whenever I hear the name Pure Fusion Collective. A girthy, bassy, crunchy fart. And in all honesty, that trio could have been something, if not for two glaring issues. One, Pure Fusion Collective is quite possibly the worst name for a group in the history of professional wrestling. It was literally like someone drunk and blindfolded had a dartboard that was spinning and had a bunch of words on it, and he just threw 3 darts and it landed on Pure Fusion Collective. And they were like, print it! We're going with that! They're the PFC! That's problem number 1. They had the worst faction name in the history of naming a faction. And 2, the leader was Sonya Deville, who is terrible. Sonya Deville was a god-awful professional wrestler. She had no business ever being on WWE television. She never improved. She was honestly at her best. She was at her best when she was in NXT, or being an official of some sort on WWE TV when she hated Naomi for no reason. The only 2 times that she's been palatable is when she was doing a Diet Ronda Rousey gimmick in NXT or bullying Jimmy Uso's wife. That's it. I will never forget that absolutely just beyond atrocious match that she had with Mandy Rose at SummerSlam in 2020. I wish I could remove that from my memory. But yeah, the PFC is PFD. Pretty fucking done. It does not exist anymore. Thank God. That was so horrible. But this does leave one glaring omission that I am patiently waiting for. Zoe Stark, your ass is next. The next time they do a bunch of releases, I guarantee you Zoe Stark's name is going to be on that list. Because Zoe Stark at least can go in the ring. Kind of. But oh my god, she is a vacuum, like an abyss, as far as having a personality is concerned. If she bought a personality at Walmart, that personality would grow legs and run away. No, I don't want to be absorbed into the abyss. I don't want to be sucked into the vacuum of her completely non-existent. She has an anti-personality. She has anti-charisma. Like, the crowd goes quiet every time she comes out. It's almost like they're in awe of how boring she is. Same thing with Raquel Rodriguez. And I also guarantee you, if Raquel was not in the Judgment Day and not tag team champion partners with Liv Morgan, Raquel would have been released. Because Raquel sucks, and she gets even worse of a reaction than Zoe Stark does, because at least Zoe Stark can kind of work. At least you can have Zoe Stark have a passable match. Raquel sucks at everything. And the crowd goes like, it's like a graveyard. It's like Raquel comes out and the entire audience passes away in their sleep. It's astounding. So yeah, Shayna Baszler's gone, and that makes me sad because she had potential at one point. Vince McMahon ruined it, and she's just been a shell of herself ever since. So maybe Shayna, and she's in her 40s, so that also worked against her. So hopefully Shayna can find something to do with her time. I know that she also likes to go on Twitch, so maybe she can do more of that. Maybe she'll go back to maybe she'll become like an MMA coach or something like that. I don't know. I don't see her in wrestling anymore though. Unfortunately, again, it's a shame. Thanks a lot, Vince, for ruining Shayna Baszler. We could have had a female Brock Lesnar, but no, you, in the words of SpongeBob, you soiled it! Soiled it! Soiled it! Anyway, so, moving on with this list. Kayden Carter and Katana Chance. Also known as the only legitimate tag team in WWE's quote-unquote women's tag team division. I put both of those air quotes in bold, italics, underline, and at about 100 size font. Because WWE does not have, has never had, and will never have a women's tag team division. So much so that I really wish that they would just get rid of the women's tag team. They should have never even made the women's tag team belts. Because they've never had the amount of tag teams necessary to, make having tag team titles make sense. And they've never actively... It is always just used to break people up or bring people together so they can go into a feud. Like with what they're doing with Lyra and Becky right now over the Women's Intercontinental title. So, them getting rid of these two is just further proof and evidence that they do not give a shit and have never cared about the women's tag team division. And I'm not going to lose any sleep over it because their gimmick being, we're party girls, garbage. I hated their gimmick. It was so lame and one note. Whenever we win matches, we go to a club and party. We go to a rave. Oh my God, we're raving. That's what I think of that. That is what I think of that gimmick. And I kind of feel bad for Katana and Kayden, but they never really did anything. They were a decent tag team, I guess. I just personally hated the gimmick. But their work was fine. But it was not enough to warrant, there being women's tag team titles or them. No one cared when they came out. They would come out to barely any reaction, mostly because their gimmick was horrible. And I feel like everyone was, if you have eyes and ears and a modicum of taste, then you're like, they're party girls. Can you go to a rave now and some actual stars come out and wrestle? Because I don't care about you. So yeah, they're gone. And at the same time, I mentioned Liv and Raquel earlier. They're the women's tag team champions. If you needed even more evidence that WWE does not care at all about the women's tag team division, it's still funny calling it a division because it doesn't exist. If you need more proof that they absolutely do not care about it, Liv and Raquel are literally the tag team champions. Liv Morgan's going to be off TV for like a month filming a movie that I'm not going to go watch. And they're not going to take the titles off of them. Because they don't care. What would be the point? There would not be a point. Like, there's no point in even having the women's tag team titles. I don't know why. I know exactly why. Because the second they get rid of the women's tag team titles, there's going to be a massive bitch fest on X about misogyny. Oh, misogyny! And everyone's going to go insane, and I'm going to get very annoyed, and I'm going to regress to wanting WWE to just cut the entire women's division out of spite because I hate the internet. So WWE is like, yeah, we shouldn't have made those women tag team belts at all because we don't care about them, but we can't get rid of them or our fans are going to lose their ever-loving minds. So we're just going to have them be in booking purgatory because we don't care. Neither does the audience, except for a couple weirdos on X. So, yeah. Goodbye, Kayden. Goodbye, Katana. Kayden, I'll miss your always oiled up chest. I've never seen someone wrestle constantly so much with an unnecessarily oiled up chest. Like, Kayden, relax with the baby oil on your chest. Like, I get it. You're trying to grease up your assets. That is a very dirty thing I just said on this podcast. What did I just say? That's what she's doing. That's what a lot of them do that. It's just super noticeable. with Caden. Like, you have very pretty blue eyes. Like, stop. Like, I want my eyes to be up there. Stop doing your best to grease yourself up to where my eyes are anywhere but up there. So stop doing that. I don't have to worry about it anymore because she's fired, but still. Here's another one that some people had an issue with. Cora Jade. I wouldn't say that Cora Jade got fired. I would more put it, she was drafted to OnlyFans. Because that is exactly where she's going. There are also a lot of these, like I would not be surprised at all if Caden Carter made an OnlyFans. B. Priestley, who was fired a couple months ago, she made an OnlyFans because of course she did. If I was her, I would have referred to my OnlyFans as Blair's Davenport. Where's Gary? Where's Gary? Where's Gary? Thank you, Gary, for your contributions. But this one's another one that's kind of similar to Dakota Kai, because all I know about Cora, because I don't watch all that much NXT, but whenever I would watch NXT, someone would say something about Cora Jade being out because of an injury, or like whenever I would see Cora Jade, the next word would be the word injury. So Dakota Kai and Cora Jade, their bodies failed them, so that's largely, I think, why they got cut. Plus, I never heard anything about Cora Jade being all that great. I know that she's one of CM Punk's girls, and CM Punk is probably not super happy about it, but I don't know. But she's like, what, 24? She'll likely be back in WWE unless she makes a bajillion dollars, like a ludicrous amount of money on OnlyFans, which she likely will because she's Cora Jade, and, you know, wrestling fans are creepy. So, yeah, speaking of which, Gigi Dolan, this is what I'm kind of sad about, because Gigi Dolan, or Priscilla Kelly, her former ring name, was also released. She's another one that I wouldn't say she was released. I would more say that she was drafted to OnlyFans. Because, you know, I guarantee, if Gigi Dolan wanted to just be set up for life, guarantee you that she would set up an OnlyFans, and a ton of lonely, horny, weirdo dudes would empty their life savings just to see pictures of Gigi Dolan, Cora Jade, and Caden Carter in bikinis. Because that's the world we live in. Gigi Dolan, she was fine. She had some potential, but she never really did anything. I did think it was kind of interesting that at Stand and Deliver, she was on the pre-show involved in a Fatal 4-Way Women's Tag Team No. 1 Contenders match. I'm glad I didn't watch that, because that sounds awful. And then I think she was like at one of the next shows. She was in the audience. I think it was a Monday Night Raw, holding like a flower or something. I think it was the match where Lyra and Becky dropped the belts back to Liv and Raquel, where she was in the audience because she and her tag team partner, Channing Tatum, whatever her name is, they were going to wrestle for the tag team titles on NXT, which they lost. So it's weird seeing that, and then she gets fired. Another person that got fired, Eddie Thorpe. Now, for a lot of you, when you hear Eddie Thorpe, you're immediately going to go, and I don't blame you for that, because he's not exactly someone who's relevant at all. The little bit of NXT that I do watch, I have seen him wrestle a couple matches. He's essentially Native American Danny Garcia. He's just a dude who's there. He has no personality, and that's it. But he's one of the ones where I'm glad he got fired. Now, I know it's kind of taboo to celebrate other people's misfortunes, but this is one of those instances where I do not care, and I'm happy he got fired, simply because, okay, there are a couple, I mentioned this a lot, one of the wrestling podcasters that I listen to, other than the Court Martial podcast when I'm stealing their sound bites, is JD from New York 206. He had the temerity to criticize Eddie Thorpe a couple months ago, criticize him for being boring. And Eddie Thorpe, of course, pulled the race card going, oh, you don't like me because I'm Native American. You don't like me because I'm brown. And everyone was like, what? JD from New York was like, excuse me? So, I'm sorry, but if someone criticizes you and your immediate gut reaction is to become a race hustler, you have officially lost all of my respect, and I do not care about you, and the second you get fired, I'm going to celebrate, because I cannot stand race hustlers. I cannot stand race baiters. I don't care that you're Native American, dude. Like, I love Cody Rhodes. He's arguably my favorite wrestler. I don't care that he's white. If he was black, cool. I don't care. His wrestling ability, his personality, what he does, that's what I care about. I don't care about his ethnicity. I shouldn't need to understand your heritage in order to enjoy what I'm watching on a screen. What does your Native American heritage have to do with what you can do inside of a wrestling ring, like having charisma? Like, oh, I don't have charisma, and I'm not particularly interesting when it comes to actually performing wrestling moves. I'm Native American. That should fix everything. And if that doesn't, then I'll just call everyone racist. Wait, why am I getting fired? I guarantee you that whole X spat between JD and Eddie Thorpe, I guarantee you that whole spat that they had contributed to him being used less. Because he had a feud with Trick Williams, another dude who I think is talented and has a lot of potential. Yes, he's black, but I don't care that he's black. I care that he has potential and he's talented and he has charisma. They had Eddie Thorpe beat Trick Williams on a pay-per-view in a strap match. Why? I have no idea. Because they were trying to get something out of Eddie Thorpe, but then that whole Twitter spat thing happened, and immediately his push got derailed, and he lost to Trick Williams in an NXT Underground match, and then the next time I hear of him at all is him getting released. So I do think that him being an idiot and shooting his mouth off on social media over a podcaster's comments, I do think that significantly had something to do with his decline and eventual release from WWE. Which, if that's the case, good, because if you emulate Big Swole, you deserve to be fired. You deserve to be let go, because the world's already bad enough with one Big Swole. We don't need a Native American male version of Big Swole. So get that shit out of here. Get that out of here, Eddie Thorpe. Go be the greatest Native American wrestler of all time in your own mind somewhere else. I hear AEW's hiring a lot more than they can handle. Up next, we have a very interesting one that I want to talk about, and I have a lot to say about this one. It is Riley Osborne. And that's all I have to say about that. Similarly, we have Jakara Jackson. You all know Jakara Jackson, right? Oh no, don't do it. Don't do it! Oh man, we really need to put these owls back in their cages. Oh no, there's another one. Oro Mensah. Oro Mensah was released. Oh, the horror. Oh no, not again. I'm opening an owl zoo, apparently. Are there any more? Javier Bernal. Oh god, not again. Someone put up all of these owls. My mom likes to collect owls, and I guess they all just got out, and they're flying around every time I read a name that no one on earth has ever heard of. But yeah, the funeral for whoever these people are will be held tomorrow, and I won't be there to attend, because who are these people? But now we come to another sad one where I'm like, oh man, Gallus. Joe Coffey, Mark Coffey, and Wolfgang were all released, and I'm sad. Although I'm not entirely surprised. Literally, the only one of these names that kind of surprised me a little was Braun Strowman. As much as I love Gallus, I'm not at all surprised they were let go. They have not done anything with them of significance since NXT UK stopped being a thing. But they were so talented. What could have been? I especially loved Joe Coffey. Joe Coffey's so talented. I can totally see all of them going to AEW and joining, or ROH and joining the Grizzled Young Vets. So don't do that, because I would like for you to continue having a career in wrestling. And then up next we have, oh dear, Danny Palmer. Oh my god, what is with these owls today? There's so many of them. Like, I just say a name like Danny Palmer and all of a sudden, stop that. Stop that. Go back in your cage. Go back in your cage right now, young man and or lady owl. But there's one more release that I do want to discuss real quick. And I have the perfect soundbite for this particular person getting released. The final release on this list was Shotzi.
Go fuck yourself!
Yeah, that's right. You tell her, Cody Rhodes. Honestly, the Eddie Thorpe one made me happy because fuck that guy. The Shotzi one made me jump up and down for joy. Shotzi, wrestling is not for you. It just isn't. You are so ungodly horrible. Like, she is literally the worst person on this list. I've never seen someone where I'm constantly, like, it's kind of like Darby Allin, where every time he wrestles, you're worried he's going to actually kill. Is this the time he's actually going to kill himself? Or exit the match a quadriplegic? The same thing with Shotzi, except Darby Allin is a good wrestler. He can go. He can work. He's just very reckless. Shotzi is a god-awful, terrible, horrible... Why did you choose this as a career, professional wrestler, where I'm also always concerned, not that she's going to hurt someone else, that she's going to kill herself. I remember that one Money in the Bank a couple of years ago, it might have been 2021, where she had, or 2022, she had a horrendous night. She had an utterly horrific night. She was botching stuff left and right. She busted her head open on a ladder because she's an idiot. And then I also remember after she shaved her head, when she was growing her hair back and she looked like that, "Hi, Mr. Reed," woman from Liar Liar, when she cut that just beyond atrocious promo on SmackDown where she was like, "I'm crazy," and I wanted to rip my eardrums out and throw them at the screen in disgust. Horrible. Horrible, 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 horrible. Thank God Shotzi's gone. I always call her Shitzy because that's what she is. She's a horrible wrestler. This is not for you. You are not a professional wrestler. You are an embarrassment to the sport. Go away forever. Don't ever return. No. No. Absolutely not. No. Goodbye. Hasta luego. Do something weird with a tank. I don't care. So yeah, those are the WWE releases. There were some unimportant backstage people that got released. I don't really care about that. But speaking of WWE, they are having Backlash this upcoming Saturday, and the card is more or less finished. I'm pulling it up now because once again I am never prepared for these podcasts. Here you are. All right, it looks like we're looking at another Triple H special of a 5-match B-show. And the card is very strange. Very strange. 5 matches, and I'm looking forward to each of them, because each one of them interests me. And like with WrestleMania, I'm going to do what I would like to happen and what I think is going to happen. Two different things. Sometimes they overlap. Sometimes they diverge. There's some vocabulary for you. So, one match, probably the match I'm looking forward to the most, it'll be the most fun. Jacob Fatu defending the WWE United States Championship against LA Knight, Damian Priest, and Drew McIntyre in a fatal 4-way match for Jacob's U.S. title. This is going to be fun. I know that Sean and Skylar are deathly allergic to multi-man matches. Well, I am not. I am decidedly not. So, I'm very much interested in this. I like everyone involved in this. What do I think is going to happen? Jacob Fatu's retaining. Are you kidding me? Like, Jacob Fatu is going to be a huge player in WWE for a long time to come. This is the first of many championships he's going to hold. There's no way he's losing this title. But who does he pin? So, like, who do I think is going to win? Jacob Fatu. Who do I want to win? Jacob Fatu. Who do I think he's going to pin? Honestly, I feel like he's either just going to pin LA Knight, or Damian Priest is going to do something to Drew McIntyre, and then Jacob Fatu is going to do something to Damian Priest while he's distracted or whatever by Drew, and Jacob's going to end up pinning Damian Priest. So Jacob's either going to pin LA Knight or Damian Priest. So that's my prediction for that. So, but Jacob Fatu is obviously winning this match, and he should, because again, he's already over. He's only going to get more over because the dude's ridiculous, and I love him so much. So yeah, Jacob Fatu's definitely winning this matchup. One of the more intriguing matches on this card: Pat McAfee versus Gunther. I wouldn't have called this, and some people are saying that they're wasting Gunther here. First you have him lose to Jey Uso via submission at WrestleMania. Now you're having him wrestle an announcer. What are you doing to Gunther? I'll tell you what they're doing to Gunther. They're having him do other stuff to prime him for what is likely going to be a brief retirement feud with Goldberg, because Goldberg does want to retire this year, and he's likely going to go after Gunther, which I'm not... That, in my opinion, is a waste of Gunther, because I just wish Goldberg would go away. Why can't Goldberg be in one of these talent releases? But as for this matchup, what is my prediction? I predict that Gunther and Pat is going to go somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes. It's going to be mostly Gunther beating the hell out of Pat McAfee, and Pat McAfee having a couple hope spots, and then Gunther is going to get the win by choking him out. What do I want to happen? I want Gunther to destroy Pat McAfee in about 3 minutes. So either way, Gunther's going to win. I would have him win faster than how quickly they're likely going to have him win, because they are going to give Pat McAfee some hope spots. I personally would give him one, and then Gunther immediately bodies him and chokes him out, and that's it. But is this how they're going to insert Goldberg? By having Gunther win and then go back and beat up Pat some more, put another chokehold on him, and then Goldberg comes out to make the save. Now, that doesn't really make much sense, unless I guess they could play up the football angle, because Pat McAfee's a football guy. Goldberg used to be a football guy, so maybe they'll play that up. I don't know. But I do think there's a good chance that Goldberg will make the save for Pat McAfee after this matchup, after Gunther wins. Another match that I think is actually going to be pretty good, if the crowd doesn't fall asleep. I'm really hoping the crowd does not fall asleep for this match, because this could be good. Lyra Valkyria defending the Women's Intercontinental Championship against Becky Lynch. This, honestly, could be a show stealer if the crowd is not asleep. So, crowd in St. Louis, please be active and awake for the entire show, please, for the love of God. I think this could be a good match. What do I want to happen versus what do I think is going to happen? What do I think is going to happen? I think Lyra's either going to beat Becky with a roll-up, or Becky is going to beat Lyra with a roll-up. I do not see a squeaky clean finish for this. I think Becky might get a roll-up with the feet on the ropes or something like that, with the tights pulled or some combination like that. Becky is going to win. If Becky wins, which I think she is, it's going to be dirty. She's going to get a dirty win over Lyra, because she just turned heel, and this would submit her heel turn. Plus, they need to put the Women's Intercontinental title on someone who has some equity in WWE, someone who's a star in their eyes. I love Lyra. She's great, but she's not there yet. She does not have star power like Becky Lynch does, and the Women's Intercontinental title needs star power. So does the Women's US title, but considering that, going from Chelsea Green to the valet that thinks that she's a wrestler, Zelina Vega, I've given up hope for the WWE Women's US title. Why did they make these secondary belts? But I do have hope for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, because this Lyra Becky feud, this could be the start of something, and this could do wonders for the Women's Intercontinental title. I also want Becky Lynch to win. I want Becky Lynch to win for that exact reason, to put some oomph, to give the Women's Intercontinental title some prestige. But she can't beat Lyra clean. I would not have her beat Lyra clean. Unless Lyra makes some kind of rookie mistake, I would accept that. But I do think Becky is and should cheat to win, like a roll up with the feet on the ropes, or taking down the top rope to expose the metal turnbuckle, or something like that. Get a cheap win over Lyra, so down the road, Lyra can come back and defeat Becky Lynch to win the belt back. That's what I think they should be doing. So that's my prediction for that. We are also getting the internet's favorite match possibility you could ever have. Jey Uso defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Logan Paul. Man. Triple H so does not give a shit about what X thinks. He so does not. Oh, man. The very idea of that match, you can just feel the IWC just breaking out into hives and having just convulsions, pure white-hot rage. I'm looking forward to this. I'm still kind of on Jey Uso, but I do think him and Jey Uso is an interesting combination, and that could be a fun match. I think this could be a fun match. Jey Uso is absolutely winning this match. No question, he's not winning it. Jay's not going to be world champion for all that long, but he's not losing it to Logan Paul. Like, they're not going to have Jey Uso lose his first world title defense. They already had him lose the Intercontinental title back to Braun Breaker almost immediately last year. He's going to have a couple months with this title, so I'm not worried. I'm not going to lose sleep over the prospect of him losing to Logan Paul. I would be shocked if he does, but I doubt it. What do I want to happen? I want Jey to win. Because, again, it wouldn't make much sense to give the belt to Logan Paul just yet. I would wait a couple of years or so before thinking about giving Logan Paul a world title. A potential match that has not been announced, but it could be on the show if they make it a 6-match card, which is possible. We might end up with Tiffany Stratton versus Nia Jax for the WWE Women's Championship. That has not been confirmed, but they did some stuff on SmackDown to kind of set that up. So if we do get that, then Tiffany Stratton is definitely going to retain. Not a question. If that happens on Backlash, which I don't know if it will. It's either going to be a 5-match card or a 6-match card. We will see. But then we have our main event. John Cena versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. John Cena, the bad guy. Cue the Billie Eilish song. Versus Randy Orton, the good guy. Very strange flip of the script here. Randy Orton and John Cena have literally had millions of matches against each other, but it's always been Randy Orton the heel, John Cena the babyface. This time it's different, and that's interesting. My prediction for this match. What do I think is going to happen? John Cena is going to retain, but how? I will tell you what I absolutely do not want. I do not want Fiend. I do not want Travis Scott. That was such a disaster at WrestleMania. WWE, I am begging you, I implore you, do not bring Travis Scott back to have him be involved with John Cena anymore. I do not want to see Travis Scott. If you want to do John Cena and Travis Scott versus whoever and Bad Bunny at a pay-per-view at some point, have fun with that. I'm not going to watch it because gross, barf, no thanks. But please don't have him be involved with John Cena title matches, because I don't want them to squander and ruin and put a sour taste in everyone's mouth for John Cena's entire last year. Please don't ruin his entire 17th title reign. But I do think John Cena is going to win, and I want John Cena to win. This is what I think they're going to do, and this is also what I want them to do. They've been setting up and playing up R-Truth being a delusional fanboy. What if R-Truth drops a lot of the silly shit that me, Sean, and Skylar hate and becomes like an unhinged John Cena sycophant, comes out, turns heel, costs Randy Orton the match? Me personally, I would love that. I would love that if they turned R-Truth heel and turned him into some insane super John Cena fan who basically worships the dude and helps him win. I would love that. Now, for the reasons I just mentioned, everyone's being, me, Sean, and Skylar, being sick of R-Truth's goofy routine, him basically having 1/4 of a functional prefrontal cortex. We're sick of that, but I know that they might boo-hoo the idea of R-Truth getting involved, but I would prefer R-Truth being a little more serious and being devoted to his Lord and Savior, John Cena. I would prefer that over Travis Scott. So, pick your battles. I will 100 times out of 100 take Travis Scott over R-Truth. And it's not even close. So, those are my predictions for Backlash this Sunday. I don't know if I'm going to do a review of that show. I know that Sean and Skylar are going to do a CMP on it. I might just send them notes. I might talk about it on the next episode of Post TAP. I might do a TAP on it, a wrestling review as I'm one to do. We shall see, but we'll come up with that as we get to it. But those are my predictions for Backlash. What are your predictions for Backlash 2025? What are your thoughts on the releases this past week and how stupid and unhinged wrestling fans can be and how much it makes you wish that you never fell in love with the sport in the first place? Thank you guys so much for listening to this 15th episode of Post TAP. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that fun stuff, and I will see you guys on the next one. Good night, everybody.